Well, we're back. Today we're starting to do some of the early reassembly and kind of some cleanup, get some of these parts ready to start putting back together. What we have here, these were the bottom supports. There's 4 of them that are in each corner like that then support the motor mounts and whatnot. So we're going to clean all this up. I've already got a couple of them here. I cleaned up pretty well. We put them in the parts washer because there was so much grease and oil and crap on them. Had them in the parts washer for a bit and cleaned them up that way. Then I hit them lightly with my wire wheel to kind of just knock off some of the crap that got stuck to it. And we'll finish up the rest of those. Including these here, we'll wipe everything down with some acetone and then hit it with a coat of light machine gray, which is pretty darn close to the original. It's probably not the original Delta Rockwell paint color, but it's pretty darn close. And these are the panels that go on the ends. So they were pretty roughed up, so we've ground those down, knocked off all the old loose paint and whatnot. Those go in like that. And I've got to make, I think as I pointed out earlier in the part 1 video, I only have these for the sides. There's 2 others that look just like these, only they're longer. They go the full width. And I'm going to have those made. These are, I believe, 14 gauge sheet metal. So if I can find a shop that just bend me some new ones that's got a break, I think that shouldn't be too awfully difficult. Anyway, we've got some of the motor parts, motor mount parts cleaned up, ready to put a coat of primer and some paint on. We've cleaned up the bars that go across that hold the motor mounts and the motor. So if you recall from the previous part, those are pretty nasty. So let's go ahead and hit these pieces a little bit here. Support pieces, these cross pieces, you're not going to see them, so I didn't really get those down to bare metal. Certainly they didn't need it either. But we'll go ahead and take some acetone, wipe all this down, and make sure it's good and clean, and we'll get ready to put a little coat of paint on this stuff. This base casting up on the bench here, got it cleaned up a little bit. It was an absolute mess. There had been oil leaking on it for probably years, and sawdust and dust caked into it and what have you. So I took my power washer to it with some degreaser and cleaned it up reasonably well. Still got a few little spots on it we need to touch up with the wire wheel, so we'll do that. And I'm trying to get all of this section painted up and ready to go so I can at least assemble to here. Underneath, this cleaned up pretty well. We won't have to paint that, of course, but it was caked underneath there with mud and sawdust and grease and what have you. So that's all cleaned up. We'll be just fine to start reassembly. So we're going to work on this now. Not going to take it down to the bare metal, just get it enough, clean it up a little bit, get some of these paint spots off of here, and then we'll hit it with some acetone like we did the other pieces, and we'll get all this stuff ready to go, paint it all at once, and then we can start reassembling. we've got this cleaned up about as well as we need to right now. I'm going to take some acetone, clean it up a little bit around here, gets all that grinding dust off of it. Okay, so we've got the pinion gears in here for the elevating mechanism. Actually, this is all cleaned up. This was an absolute mess when I started this. So we've got all these cleaned up and installed. And on top here, I'm still waiting for these thrust bearings. I'm going to get new thrust bearings here, and I should have those in a few days. So in the meantime, to keep these shafts from falling down, instead of putting the roll pins in, since I'm going to have to take them right back out, I just put in these 1/4 inch bolts to hold it. We've got the raising mechanism that works. So that part is done. Now we're going to go ahead and take this casting and set it on the stand here and get those bolts inserted, and then start tightening everything up to this stage. Okay, we've got all those in. We're going to go ahead and get some wrenches and tighten all of that up now, including the cross members that hold the motor mount. Tightened up so far. Now we're going to go ahead and put the end panels on. And this top panel right here goes right there like that. This machine had a whole bunch. All of these panels and sheet metal were held in place by these 1/2 inch truss head machine screws, machine bolts. They're 5/16 coarse thread. And there's probably, I'm going to guess there's, 50 of them or whatever on this thing, various spots. And instead of cleaning all these, plus some of the heads were a little goobered up, I was able to find online some stainless steel replacements. So these are going to replace all of these where these steel panels are going to go, and they should look real nice. So we're going to go ahead and put a few of these on where we need to do it right now. I think these stainless steel truss head bolts are going to look real nice on here. It's going to kind of set it off, and they should stay nice over the years versus tarnishing and whatnot and rusting, so that should be good. Well, we got everything wrapped up for this stage. I think it turned out pretty well. Those all work real nice. And under here, the motor mount, we don't have the motor in yet obviously, but all this is ready to go. And these adjustment, the bar's cleaned up real good, and all this is tightened up and ready for the next phase. Now we got to go clean some more parts.